You are listening to the World Sports Show on WPPMLP Philadelphia. Soccer-based sports talk covering local, nation, and global soccer. Broadcasting from the Philly Cam studio in Center City, Philadelphia on 106.5 FM.
Welcome, World Sports Show. Charlie Flo here with John DeCriscio. We have a special guest in the studio tonight, Sean Lawlor from Drexel men's soccer team via the country of England. So I want to thank you for coming in tonight, Sean, and joining us.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
We've got a lot in the soccer world. We had a pretty busy weekend. MLS is in full action. USWNT played. A lot of topics popping. Some really, really big news coming out of CONCACAF. We'll break it all down, but big things trending right now. United States, Canada, Mexico today declared that they have an intention to formally submit a bid to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So that's huge news. U.S. Women's National Team completed a 2-game series with Russia by beating them 5-1 yesterday, and previously last week beat Russia 4-0. 2017 NWSL season will kick off this Saturday with 4 games and 1 game on Sunday. A lot of action in the MLS. Local action included Philadelphia Union hosting Portland Timbers, and they were dropped 3-1. That brings the Union to a 3-game losing streak. So the hot topic right now, John, is the worldwide USA, Canada, and Mexico putting in kind of a triple formal submit. It's not a bid, but just kind of, hey, that we're going to bid, we're going to want this, we're going to try to get the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
I mean, let's be honest. Were you shocked by it? I mean, I kind of was,
dude.
I'm
happy.
I'm happy, but I mean, just hearing the news that you got the 3-country
agreeing to something,
despite of, whatever politics. I know that they tried to keep that out of it, but the reporters, it's the right question to ask. But, just coming in, hearing it, the 3 countries, and I believe that they were talking about 60 games for the U.S., 10 for Canada, 10 for Mexico. So it's interesting, and
I've got a good deal then. Right. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it was good that they were talking to propose logistics, and basically it's a package they're trying to put together, send it to FIFA, and see if they'll bite on it.
I think the big thing is a lot of the people don't realize this will be a World Cup that will be not just expanded, but I don't even know what to call it. It's super expanded. It will feature 48 nations.
You're right about that, and take that in consideration.
That we do have the infrastructure in the United States. You have to put into factor what country can host a World Cup with 48 different nations. Now you're looking at several more groups, several more games. You're, going to have to expand of how many teams actually get through to the next round type of thing. So, I mean, U.S. probably could have handled it regardless, but just adding Canada and Mexico just adds a lot of more depth and culture. And, I mean, it'll definitely be regionally the biggest tournament. I mean, 94 was very hugely successful. I think one of the largest attended World Cups in history, but now adding that extra, factor with Mexico, they've hosted a World Cup. We've seen Canada host a Women's World Cup. They've hosted, underage type of World Cup. So all these countries have experience, had the venues, had the facility to do it, and they're all newer venues too.
Yeah, that's right. And, a couple questions that were kind of interesting on the interview that they had where they asked about the surface, considering they had the Women's World Cup there previously with synthetic surface, and a reporter did try to start a pot a little bit, will there be a synthetic pitch? But that wasn't, it's more of a federation and FIFA call, when it comes down to it. They're just basically trying to get their logistics and seeing if they can sway some, get the money in place so that they can get the bid.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the big concern, 2 summers ago or summer and a half ago, however you look at it, that the Women's World Cup is played all on artificial surface, all on
right.
the AstroTurf type thing. And they said that they would have that again, so we're assuming the next World Cup for women that's going to be in France is going to be all on grass. But it is definitely a logistical challenge. But, I mean, we're talking the year 2026. I mean, that's a long time from now. They got plenty of CFL stadiums that can hold World Cup like they did for the Women's World Cup. They can easily do the transfer over to grass. It's not easy, but it will be a logistical challenge because during the World Cup, which is usually June, July, that's when kind of the CFL is starting to kick off too. So that can be, some scheduling issues there too.
Don't make it happen.
No, you got plenty of time. I mean, you have some of these venues that might only host 2 or 3 games. You can tell that team to go take a hike for a couple weeks.
Well, the good thing for everybody out in Philadelphia land is that they're set up for a possible game. You got the Lincoln Financial Field, which gets some major games every year. You got the summer tournaments coming through.
This summer with the Gold Cup, we got a game.
Right.
2 games this year.
It's a good revenue maker for the city, and I'm sure that if they had to, out of 60 games in the States, they can at least get one date on the map. I'm hoping.
Yeah. I mean, say Philly does or doesn't get a game, there will be games within driving distance. You've got Baltimore. You got FedEx Field down in D.C. You've got Red Bull Arena. You've got MetLife Stadium. I mean, you've got so many stadiums here on the East Coast itself.
I would be shocked if they didn't get a game, put it that way.
There will be a game within
ahead.
less than an hour's drive of Philadelphia, or an hour or so's drive of Philadelphia. I guarantee you that. So,
and just the fans, especially with the show that we have, are the people that we talk to. They would drive, fly, go out of country, wherever it is they're going to go.
Yeah, it's always it's a neat logistics when you're scheduling. When you looked at the U.S. World Cup, you had a lot of East Coast games, and then you had the swings off with the World Cup final being in Pasadena, California. So it's interesting. You also have to factor in the time of the year. Love to see a game in Miami for the draw that you get from the Latino community, but you're not putting a World Cup game. It's going to be very hard to put a World Cup game in June, July in Miami.
Yeah, you're right about that. And one other comment that the president of the U.S. Soccer Federation noted, talking about logistics was, a reporter asked about the travel time with Brazil, how it was, the players that, travel dates and, miles. I think it was
U.S. got shafted, man.
The Rainforest game was 4-hour flight, and then coming back next day. You're looking at travel days. They said that hey, if we do set it up, we have we have capability. I'm paraphrasing here to have a possible East Coast tournament, basically through Canada, U.S. and Mexico City, or a West Coast side. California, have everything through Vancouver down to everywhere else. So I think it'd be interesting.
Break it up like the NCAA bracket. You got your East and your West bracket. I mean, seriously, you could have all the groups on East. I mean, you could even, like when you're looking at the pot when you do the draw, you look at some of put the Asian nations on the West Coast, put some of the European nations on the East Coast. I mean, you're from England, Sean. It'd be a lot easier to catch a flight from London to New York than from London to L.A.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely would be. I mean, 75% of the games are going to be in the US. Like you said, the 94 World Cup was just the start here. And we've had 2 summers of real soccer here with the Gold Cup and the CONCACAF. So it's been pretty good. And also the South American tournament too. So the US is set up perfectly for tournaments like the World Cup.
We draw, we sell tickets.
That's
Absolutely.
it.
And there's so many different nations here who live here anyway that they could just draw from that alone, never mind people traveling in.
Yeah. I mean, I would go. If you put any matchup at Lincoln Financial Field, I'm there, and I know tons of people that'll go just because it's a World Cup game.
Guarantee, I would get a ticket and go regardless of country.
I mean, we had the 2003 Women's World Cup because of the whole SARS thing in China. They ended up bumping it over here, and I remember going to, and the way they sold it, and they did the same thing with the Women's World Cup in Canada. They sold a lot of tickets that were double headers. I mean, you might not see that as much in the Men's World Cup, but I mean, I just went just because I didn't care who it was. It was a double header. It was very affordable. Even the Women's World Cup, this past World Cup, was very affordable. It blew my mind of how inexpensive these tickets were to go to a World Cup game.
That's right. And thank you, everybody out there, for listening to World Sports Show on WPPM LP Philadelphia. We're talking about World Cup here, 2026. So we're already
couple years from now.
But it's
we'll all be in different age brackets, different decade.
Because I think it's getting used to the larger size of the World Cup is going to be interesting to see these countries come in and the qualification. it's a good process. And
It'll be, and also I thought about that when it came out that the hosts are an automatic bid.
that was a
Yeah.
topic, and that is the discretion of FIFA.
That you've now
The host country,
3 of the hosts
right.
are from CONCACAF, and we get 3.5 teams. So how do you just put up 1.5 spots for, or actually a half a spot up? And especially with the expansion of 48, you're thinking hopefully each little federation is going to get a little more expansion to get in.
Right.
I mean, if you're going from 32 to 48. I remember when it bumped up from 24. I think it was the last World Cup was, and I think in '94 was 24 teams.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to come up with some solution.
Yeah, I mean,
Hopefully.
it's everybody says, is it going to get watered down expansion? I think the game has grown so much that you don't see it so much because we have seen some of these small middle nations come in and make an impact and get through. We even saw it with the expansion of the Euros last summer. What they expanded to from 24 to 32 now?
That's right.
And hey, sorry, Sean, to bring up that game, but now we got to see Iceland beat England,
Same
and
result for England.
it might have been a situation where you don't expand the Euros; those teams never get in.
I think it's you got a guest in here for 11 minutes, and you're automatically throwing
Two
a
English
spear out.
bashing.
It's crazy already.
Hey, that's not many times, that, I mean, England's got the upper hand on the U.S. many more times than just once or twice, So, I mean, what am I going to do? So, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see of how it all maps out, and that's the one thing of the U.S. can handle it. We see the Mexico stadiums; they got everybody thinks the Aztec. I mean, that can hold 100,000 plus,
I think it's almost up to 108.
something like that,
108,000,
dude.
yeah.
It's we see those size stadiums throughout the U.S. Not as much in those 100,000s. There's no professionals, and the closest we got is FedEx Field in D.C., and it's fluctuated between 80 and 90. I know they kind of yank seats out, and now they say they're stadium smaller, and then MetLife, I think it's about 85,000 up in North Jersey. I think it's about 85,000. So,
I mean, you can almost guarantee they're going to get the marquee game at MetLife.
oh yeah,
Guaranteed.
I mean, it's in the shadows of New York City.
Sure.
So,
Get that money. Make
and
that
then you've
money,
got
New York.
the new stadiums down in Atlanta. Their new football stadium they're building that's going to be for
That's right.
Atlanta's United team. It's interesting that we'll see how it all grows. I mean, we're still a long way down the road. So, I mean, you're starting to see a lot of these stadiums now that are multi-purpose stadiums that can just flip a switch, 24-hour turnaround, be ready for any sport you can think of.
We've got the stadiums where you can bring the pitch, wheel it outside.
Dude, that's
throw
Arizona
a little
Stadium. You ever
sun
seen
on
that
it?
before, Sean?
Yeah,
That they roll the stadium out.
It's fantastic.
Which pitch do you want to use, A, B, or C today?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Just flip the pitch, us college coaches. So you got turf now, Drexel. So
We do.
I mean, there's challenges to us at Philly U coaching on grass. I mean, everybody loves grass if it's taken care of. Our staff do a pretty good job, but the elements come in. We don't have that kind of budget to suddenly resod our field. So with that being said, you guys can just push and push and push. Well, we have to move a lot of times. If it's really bad, we got to do the indoor gym session. That's like one of the worst things as a coach is to suddenly, sometimes the director's like, yeah, we'll give you guys the gym. I'm like, well, we do play on 120 by 60-yard field, and now you give us basketball gym. We'll try to make it work. I mean, it's just the challenges.
Get that small-sided training in.
I
Very
guess.
small-sided.
Yeah.
Micro games.
Exactly. They want to go out and kill it.
Right.
They had no passes over 10 yards the entire match.
Outdoor futsal.
Outdoor futsal. Now you're starting something, John.
Yeah.
We always start these crazy ideas of different little things we want to try. There were some talks of other things we'll bring up. But, yeah, I think how would that work? Do 11v11, hard surface, outdoor.
Let me tell you something. If you're getting more than 5 yards on a shot, I'm not playing keeper in that league.
Yeah.
That ball's like a brick, like a bowling ball coming at you. I've taken
And
my
you and I
share
have
of
both
hitting.
played futsal goalkeeper for.
Yeah, that's
Half
right.
the saves are just self-defense.
That's it. Them guys are crazy, too. In professional futsal, hands out wide, trying to, reaction saves. Not for me.
Nah, dude. Saving off the face. So,
Face save.
and what's the game of futsal like back in England? I mean, is it growing? I mean, because you guys have a lot of pitch, but there also is a lot of rainy seasons in England. I mean, it rains about 360 days a
Talking
year.
about outside, like five-a-side, we have a ton of. Well, you have basketball courts.
Yeah.
We have five-a-side soccer fields, and companies are now. You see it all over the show now, where all over the country, up and down, where people are making a ton of money on these, where they'll just sign up. And you can play on in leagues.
Okay.
It's almost like indoor, like here at YSC.
Huh.
But they have a ton of fields, probably like 10 to 20 fields at one time.
Are just all stacked up?
And they just stack them up in a cage. It's cage soccer. With a real ball, small goal, probably, I don't know, it's probably like 4 foot high, and there's a D around, and that's the goalie. Just like you said, it just gets smacked. It's like, you got to be nice to the goalie so he comes back the next week, because no one wants to play that position.
Is that the house rule? The goalies always play for free?
Yes.
Right.
That's how I got on the team. I played in Starfinder last winter, and that was the whole deal. I'm like, well, it's $80 to be on this like co-ed team. I'm like, yeah, but I'm playing keeper. Who's my backup? Like, no, you're it. I'm like, okay. And I did get hurt, and John relieved me. John was my step in the end of the season, just because of you look at it like, wow, dude, you lost your game. You gave up 8 goals. I'm like, yeah, but I still had a good save percentage. You might give up 8
you're
goals.
talking 30-plus shots a game. Might even teeter to 50 shots. It's just...
Depends how bad your team is.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, I think being the futsal or indoor goalkeeper, every ball that is anybody's foot is a potential scoring opportunity. There's no breaks as a keeper in indoor.
Not at all.
So, if anything, it's fun, especially if you're on a bad team. You're getting lit up, but you're having fun doing it.
That's right. Futsal, outdoor futsal, mailbag at worldsportshow.com. Email us in. Let us know what you think, and we'll next week.
Yeah, and also John was talking earlier. I'm gonna throw you under the bus again, John. Sorry, I do this every show.
You still, bud.
Yeah, you talked about you want to see how much NCAA eligibility you got left, or just college ball, because it varies per JUCOs, and seeing if you can actually get on the pitch.
Yes, it's a very delicate subject we're talking about in the pregame.
You have to check with the NCAA how much you got left.
I'm going to check on my eligibility, and thinking around 50 years old, I might make the comeback. Just trying to find one stat to excel at, whether it be fouls committed, yellow cards, shots beyond 50,
most multi-subs in one game, because all the JUCOs have different sub rules.
Sub rule.
You got the maximum amount of subs in one game. Or play all 11 positions.
I think we'll try some positive stat first, just to see if a coach will bite on my offer to come back and play. But yellow cards and all that other stuff. Subs.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of something, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't see you as a starter at 50. I looked at you as a bench guy. Sorry.
But as long as I can pass the fitness test at 50.
The 50-year-old beep test, they give you an extra head start or something.
That's right.
The beeps are good, like minute and a half apart.
That's right. Minute and a half apart.
I'm just saying you're 50.
Well, I hope
you're not 50
now.
I hope
to be
but
still playing anyway. I'm 40 now, but I hope to be still playing. I'm not looking to win the World Cup. Well, we play like we're trying to win a World Cup now. It's because we're old. We have
over 50
We have
World
no
Cup.
shot at anything anymore. But looking for some inspiration. Put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. Let's turn the page to the local soccer. Philadelphia Union. They've lost 3 games in a row this past Saturday. They lost 3-1 to the Portland Timbers, a very good Portland Timbers team that is always in the talks the last couple of years of just winning some type, whether it's the Open Cup or whether it's the MLS Cup. They're a really good squad. I mean, Philadelphia got on the lead early, got a 1-zip lead off a set piece, and to me, it seems that when it became 1-1, it was a chasing situation. I think that's been one of the Union's MOs, this losing streak, that they're playing catch up, even if it's tied. And they're having to track balls, and I think a lot of guys are playing out of position, and they don't have a true 10 or 9, and it's
10, 9, 8, 6. But it's just tough. I mean, there's a lot of frustration. You can just see, with any sport, when you're in last place in the standings, you're going to get questioned with everything, which is only right. I mean, you got paying season ticket holders that want to see some positive come out, but I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, where do you start? That's the question now. I think that, it's they're not winning, so I think a win could trigger them in the right direction, or a loss can trigger them in a separate direction of, a change somewhere. But, something's got to change.
I mean, they got, the 3-game homestand, and
that's right.
And that was, I think, of the 3 games, I mean, neither one is more important than the other, but I look at the psyche of the game, that the first game, I think that's the one they really needed to win, because then you're righting the ship. Then there's not as much pressure that, hey, win the first one, maybe get a win in there, maybe get a draw in there. But now it makes these next 2 games somewhat a must-win situation.
That's right. So it's NYFC this Friday.
Yep, Friday. Good Friday.
Good Friday. Well, historically, NYCFC is not the best on the road. So, I think the chances are a little bit better there. But, you got to understand, Portland's a good team. I mean, they're balanced, decent coach all the way around, got a good goal scorer, and they're not going to come. They're going to come in looking to win. They're not just going to come in looking to get a result.
And they finished games too. We noticed that on Saturday.
They
weren't just happy being up 2-1.
But the thing is, you could tell that they adjust to the game well. Like, they're a team that if they have to slow the game down by laying on the ground, they'll do that. If they have to, come out and score, they'll put a couple in. But to think that you're going to get a shutout at home against a team in the West who can play, you're fooling yourself. So coming into the game, I think we talked about it, that it's going to be at least a 3 or 4 goal game. But which way will it go? Having a West Coast team come all the way into Philadelphia to Chester it's tough, but they come in and played.
I think the thing that's really hurt Union in both of their games at home, they've got a loss and a draw, is that ability to take a 2-0 lead. We haven't seen them be able to do that because they've not won a game yet, and they've had these chances to go up 2-0.
Yep.
And I think that is pretty much the reason why they've tied and lost this game, is not being able to take a lead and then pad the lead.
Is that the old soccer cliche, the old 2-0 hardest lead to hold?
Yeah, I mean, I think any lead right now is hard for the Union to hold because they've not won a game, and they've not had it. They had a lead against Toronto.
Well, they had a lead against Portland. They scored first. But,
that's the only 2 leads they've had: 1-0 and 1-0.
You're right.
Even in the Orlando game, not the Orlando-Toronto game, they came back. They were down 2-1.
That's right. But the good thing is we were down there, and you got to cover a little bit of the game. And anything, I sit in the fan section to get a different perspective. Charlie, sits with the media, and from the fan section, a little bit different feel of this game because one, it was cold out. You're still looking at, it wasn't quite freezing, but it was in the 40s, and then when you're in Chester, you get a little bit of wind.
40s in Chester on a river, you have to add about 10 degrees on the negative side.
Right, and I think that, the fans were about par with what I thought. A lot of, people want their team to win, especially in Philadelphia, so I can't blame them.
And you were there too, Sean, weren't you?
Yeah, I heard boos at the end of the game, which I haven't heard since I've been here, and that was surprising.
The stadium emptied out quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it emptied out when it was already 2-1. It wasn't even 3-1. It was starting to empty out when it was 2-1.
Right. And I noticed they were booing. There was you're going to get your boo birds, of course, but they were booing during the game. Was a player on Portland who looked like he got demolished. Like there was no chance that he might even make it through the game alive, and he popped back up. Got brought over to the medics came over, gave him triage on the field, brought him off, and he popped right back up and came on running, full. So I think the fans were giving him a little bit of the Chester welcome, so to say.
I think that's a given, and I think that's the stereotype that soccer guys kind of get. Like you got shot and then 10 minutes later you're fine.
Right.
I mean, it's a tactic, man. It's just you want it if it's your team because you're doing anything you possibly can, especially on the road.
He sold me. I was sold. I was like, man, they're down there. They're going to get his leg back on. But I was sold. I did see a hard foul, but I thought it was going to be an instant sub. Like usually, if it's a foul that's really bad, they're going to call for a sub right away. And they came in. When you see the magic spray come out, it's a different story. See, little
didn't have that when I was a kid, man. No magic spray.
Magic spray.
Could extend my career at least by a year.
Got an orange and a Gatorade and get back in there, kid.
We had bananas and Kool-Aid.
Right. Was that the Virginia?
Well, talk about cramps and fix it. Here's the banana, kid. It might take 20 minutes to kick in. The game will be over then, but cramps will be gone by then.
So, yeah, and it was interesting, going to tailgate. We're going to try and bring you some audio from tailgate, some fans. We were speaking with Ruben of the 124 Union Latinos. It's a recognized supporter group down there. But I'll tell you one thing, the culture down there in parking lot B, it used to be C, but it's B. It's pretty vibrant. A lot of Colombian fans, and it's, one thing, the food is probably the best.
Yeah, we'll tell you about that, Sean. It's a supporters group, Colombian group. I mean, they're talking like what, chili, soup.
All made right there.
Yeah.
The soup is the best.
And that's
we
just
go
something
for the soup, then we see the Union as a prize.
Thing that we've taken from the American football game and kind of brought tailgating, because you guys in England, I guess, go to the pub. You don't really tailgate, so it's just definitely.
It's too cold.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. That's one thing that I wanted to bring up. The pregame festivities.
England versus U.S. pregame.
That's it. So, where do you want to go? You
have some audio from that game? I know we have a couple different files to play from, talking to a couple different players on the Portland side, the Union side, and even the press conference. Got a few gems lined up.
What do you want to hear?
I want to hear. Let's since we were talking about this whole thing with the just the union status. We got the press conference with Jim Curtin, and I'd asked him about some of his strategies and some of the tactics going to be going on. There's only a couple questions got in there.
All right, let's see how it goes.
Head Coach Jim Curtin. Jim will give his opening statement. Then we'll open the floor to questions. Jim, whenever you're ready. Obviously, a difficult time for the group. The guys, you watch them work week in and week out. The effort they put in. It's always challenging now when the breaks aren't going our way. You score a good goal for restart to start the game. Portland, credit to them, they're a quality team, very good opponent. We knew they had a lot of attacking firepower. Did a good job on it in the first half, I thought. Gave up the one shot from Nagby, it goes through Richie's legs, and that's how it's going for us right now. I thought our response was not great after we conceded the goal. Looked a little timid, and came in at halftime, had a good talk with the guys, and off of a restart, we let them take the lead. So that's disappointing. Obviously, the last goal is us pushing in a scramble. So tough time right now. We have to find a way to fight and stick together and turn things around. It takes one win to get back on track. We do have quality within our group. There's belief in our group, and it's just a tough time right now. We need to turn it around.
Questions for Jim? Can you discuss the multiple opportunities you guys had tonight?
Yeah, we had chances to get a second goal. Fabinho's in 1v1 with the goalkeeper. He makes a good save. I thought he made a very good save on Harris's free kick. So, when it's not going your way, you're not going to score your chances, and you let a good team like Portland kind of hang around, and they take their chances. Started again the first 25 minutes. I thought was very good on the front foot. Had the crowd into the game. The crowd stuck with us the whole time. But in the key moments, we came up small. Matt?
Jim, it's now 9 goals in 5 games. 4 out of those 5 guys in the defense and with Andre are back from last year. What is it that's not working with this current group?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. There's been some individual errors that are tough. But we give up goals as a team. We have to stick together through the tough times. Keeping shutouts at home is something we take pride in. We came up small tonight in that regard. Again, goals are going to come. You're going to concede goals, but you really want to make teams earn them. And I'd say for the most part, we haven't done a good job of that this year. The goals that we've given up, other than a couple, have been what you could call not soft, but just not really earned when we kind of handed them to some teams. So that's difficult. Whether it's penalty kicks or different things like that. Not giving up a ton of shots on goal, but we are giving up big chances and we're giving up goals, so it's a problem. On the floor here to the right.
Jim, there's a portion of the fan base that's calling for a coaching change right
Next
now.
question. That's fine. I don't
Can you
know.
speak
I'm
to
a big
that?
boy, yeah. That's natural. Again, when you lose games, it's part of it. Again, I don't hide from that. I'm not a guy who doesn't understand that there's pressure in pro sports. Our players recognize that. I recognize that. I feel that. I'm not scared of it because I still believe in the team. I believe in the group. Again, you can put it on me. That's fine. I take the blame. People are going to have their opinions, and then they're entitled to them. Again, it's our job to stick together as a team, continue to work hard, and bounce back from this. And the only way you get out of it is to win a game. It's the only way you silence the noise. There's always noise. When you're playing very well, there's noise, and then people want to give accolades and annoying people the next big thing. And then there's also noise when things are going bad. And the only people that can turn it around are the people that are actually in the locker room and know what's really going on. And we'll stick together. We have a great group, great staff, a great group of players, and we're going to fight. Now back to the right.
How much changes do you think looking forward to the Friday's game will be tactically and startup lining? I mean, will it be different players in the lineup or different tactics?
Yeah, you always have to look at the tape and see, what's the best lineup and option to play against New York City FC now. Again, we'll have to let this one soak in. We'll have to learn from it, have to get better from it. But at the same time, drastic changes, changing 8 guys isn't really a way that we do things. Again, if you want to say you believe in players, you can't just bench all of them and then put your arm around them the next game. So, there could be a tweak or two for sure, obviously, but again, we'll have to do its best to get a result against New York City FC.
Thanks, Jim.
And that was Philadelphia Union head coach Jim Curtin, Charlie Flo doing the media work, getting the good audio sound bites. So it's good to see, from the head coach what's going on with the team, and that was an interesting sound bite. We can pick out a couple things that interesting things like a reporter asking him about the fans calling for his head. I understand that, but it was interesting to hear the PR director trying to cut off the. But the head coach took in a stride, gave a good answer.
Big on Jim to take it. Said, I'm a big boy, and it's true that you got to own up for what's on the field.
Yeah, he stood up and fired away. Gave an answer for the question, and then it was the last question you asked was about any change in tactics or formations for the next upcoming game. Just as a coach, we like talking to coaches to see what's going on tactically. What that they might bring. We know that the coach is not going to show his cards right away, but just some bite. Just something to see if there's going to be a change, as in because from the fans' point of view that they think the team doesn't show any hand, or doesn't change any formation. So we were just going that way, which I thought was a pretty important question.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, when you're on a losing streak, all 3 of us here have been on the upside and we've been on the downside, and it comes to a point where you have to make a change. And I know that Jim had mentioned about you don't want to lose your players' confidence and their faith, and you maybe have a core of 8 guys. These are my 8 starters. But see, this is my way to run things, and it's not my team. But sometimes I think putting a guy on the bench is a good motivator.
Sure,
we're not coming up with W's. It comes to the point where I'm not so worried about my players' confidence because we're already losing.
Yes.
So I'm worried about somebody's confidence and I'm going to continue to lose. Well, then I'm going to lose my job, and we're going to be in the cellar.
Yep.
So I can hurt some feelings, but at the end of the day, when you get to a certain level, college, pros, that these players have to know that that's part of the territory.
That's right.
That your job is on the line every single time you even touch into a training session. And I'm sure you've been with that with your players, Sean. I mean, both of us, Drexel and Philly had some struggles in our seasons that you have to make changes and gotta I wouldn't say experiment, but you almost have to change it and try something different.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of his job is managing players as well. So whether they're playing or not, if you have to drop them, then you just got to manage them. Again, it's part of your job description. So, and like you said, if you're not getting results, then you've got to try something else, I'm guessing.
Also have another clip with Keegan Roseberry, defender on the Union's been logging tons of minutes, and this is an interview with just all the press addressing him in the locker room.
Keegan, tell us how you played tonight.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to tell that it wasn't satisfactory for us from our side. But one of the most frustrating things for us is we feel like we don't deserve the results we're getting right now. We feel like we're playing well enough to earn points, the biggest challenge for us is to get the right result.
Give up 3 goals against tonight. What's going on in the back? Just not cohesive.
Yeah, I think sometimes bounces don't go your way. You look at that team specifically, and they're one of the highest scoring teams in the league. Got a lot of good attacking pieces, and we knew that going into it, and it's going to be a tough challenge to prevent them from scoring. But you also look at the way that the goals are given up, and the first one is an unlucky bounce off a tackle, and you have a set piece and another set piece on an own goal. So it's interesting when you look at the way the goals are given up and the way the game is played, and it's not that they're stringing 25 passes together and breaking us down, and we've got a ton of problems all over the field. So it's these little details that we'll have go our way later in the season.
Any more for Keegan?
Do you have to manage the frustration level at this point, considering those bounces aren't going your way?
Yeah, it's tough just because it's different. It's a different type of frustration when guys are making obvious mistakes, and they're losing men on set pieces and mental mistakes like that. Whereas these are little bounces that are tough to be preventable. So We feel that if we work through it and we manage the frustration now, that we'll have them come our way in the long run.
And that was Keegan Roseberry of the Philadelphia Union. There's another Union player that was with the system for a long time, but now is with Portland. He got a few minutes as a sub, kind of came in and really kind of did a midfield role where they were looking to possess and just kind of milk some clock, and that was Amobi Okugo. So we have a sound bite with me talking to him.
Charlie Flo World Sports Show, Amobi Okugo. What does this mean for you guys to just get this win, and a special win for you because you're getting to come back in the place you played for years?
Yeah, it's big to get 3 points on the road. Whenever you can get points on the road, it's big. So we're happy as a group. And out of 3 away games, we've won 2. So we have confidence to, not only play at home, but play away from home. So it's big.
What was it like emotional for you stepping on this field? Because, this is a place that kind of, you grew up here.
Yeah, exactly. This is where I came from started out as a boy, left as a man. So it was good, It feels weird to do this interview in this locker room. I've done so many interviews with you on the other side. So it's a bit surreal, the fans doing some heckling and jiving, but it's all love.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, that Philly athletes that have hustled, and your hustle was never a question, that you come here, it's kind of a fun banter,
Yeah.
They're doing it as fun.
Yeah, it was good. It's just to see so many familiar faces, fans that became family. It was just great to see them, still supporting the team. After all these years, I've left. They still, it's just great to see them.
You have to remind yourself when you're walking around here, take different turns instead of going to the other locker room.
Exactly. Coming in from halftime, I'm usually walking straight in. Had to make that quick right, so it was a little different. But it's good to come in with this group of guys and get the win.
It's always good seeing you. Great seeing you, and thank you for giving us time for World Sports Show.
No worries. Anytime. Always good.
And that was Amobi Okugo of the Portland Timbers. Charlie got to interview with him post game, so that's good. Good coverage this week down there from is it Talon Energy Stadium?
Yeah, I have to get my
Chester,
corporate
Pennsylvania.
names right. It might be a different name next year. I don't know.
That's right. And everybody out there, you're listening to World Sports Show on 106.5 FM. It's WPPM LP Philadelphia, just in case you want to know. So thank you again for listening. And also mailbag out there. We get your questions, comments, whatever you want to hear, however you want to communicate with us. I can barely talk. I'm out of breath. I'm trying to string it together. Radio.
I got you.
Radio. Mailbag at worldsportshow.com. And if you want Charlie, if you want to hit him up later, I'll give you his personal email. Please flood him.
Yeah, because
keep him up at night.
I'm kind of mean to John. We're good buddies, but I always give out mailbag at worldsportshow.com. Goes straight to John's phone. So
yeah, I get the alert to update it on my phone. That's real great.
But the upside is you do get the recipes first.
Yeah, that's
Fans
right.
will email us recipes.
We
and
do
John
talk
gets
a
it
lot
first.
of food. We talk talk food, beverage, whatever.
We'll hit up the meat pie discussion with Sean in a few minutes.
Absolutely. But the only people that I can allow after midnight is they are international listeners to call,
Yeah, they don't know.
Absolutely.
They don't have, But we want to change paint a little bit and move to the women's game. U.S. women played 2 games this past week. They played the 2 home-and-home series, both in Texas. First game was in Frisco, Texas, where they beat Russia by a score of 4-0. Really, really good to see some of the young players like Casey Short getting a start, Rose Lavelle getting a start and being very effective and just getting in there and being a factor. Not that they were never a non-factor in She Believes, but getting in there and actually contributing to the offense.
Yeah, against an opponent, I can say they're getting their feet wet a little bit without too much concerns of being spoiled on their early debuts,
Yeah.
I'd say, to be nice.
And then yesterday,
I'm a nice guy.
Yeah. U.S. women went to Houston, Texas, where they beat Russia by a score of 5-1. And I think the one thing that was really, really neat was it was a very special day for the goalkeeper, Jane Campbell. She came in as a sub midway through the second half. And you don't usually, CC keepers sometimes switch at halftime or a different start. But, we didn't really get to address that. But we did speak to her a short while ago. And we have a clip with Jane Campbell of the Houston Dash and U.S. Women's National Team. Charlie Flo, World Sports Show. I'm here with Jane Campbell, Houston Dash, and of the United States Women's National Team. Want to thank you for calling into the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pretty eventful last few months for you. Getting ready to start up with Houston, being in a couple camps with the U.S. National Team. How does someone like you balance all this from just being in college, just a while back to suddenly being in the limelight and having to juggle a couple different teams now.
Yeah, it's definitely fast-paced. I mean, the draft was in January, and then after the draft, it was just national camp after national camp, and then moving to Houston, and then getting ready for preseason, and then another national camp. So definitely high pace, and a lot of movement going around, but it's kind of like the way I like it, and kind of ready to put my foot to the pedal here and just kind of roll with what's given with me. So it's been an exciting last few months, and I've just really embraced it and really enjoyed it.
I'm sure you got a lot of your time management skills through Stanford. That's not an easy school.
No, not at all, to say the least. But yeah, Stanford's a great place, and I've learned so much with my time there, and very thankful to have gone there.
Now, when did it ever start maybe becoming a realistic possibility that you'd be able to, play this sport professionally?
I would say it was always a goal of mine ever since I was little, maybe around like 8 years old. It was like a dream of mine, and then when I got to be around 14, 15, making the youth teams, I was like, okay, maybe I'm pretty good at, this and this whole soccer thing. And then my freshman year of college, I didn't really have that great of a year actually, but I knew I could do great things there and at Stanford. And I was kind of just like, if I can embrace this life and embrace soccer as a sport and a culture, I know I could grow as a player and a person. And I would probably say for sure after my freshman year, I knew I could play. And ever since that feeling of kind of like failure my freshman year, I was like, okay, I'm not going to take that for an answer. And I just kind of went with it and ran with it.
Even draft day, walk us through those emotions, because for every athlete, you see all the projections, you're supposed to be taking this round, that round, but I've talked to a lot of athletes, even if they know they're like an automatic like first, second pick, they're still nervous.
Definitely nerve-wracking, but it's, once in a lifetime experience to get drafted. So just every emotion possible was there at draft day, and my mom and dad were there, and my brother was watching online. So it was just super cool. I mean, it was unimaginable, to be honest, and just so thankful my name got called at any point in the draft, and very thankful Houston picked me up, and it was just an amazing day, one of the best days of my life.
So being a goalkeeper, it's a very unique position on the field and requires a different type of skill set and different type of mental set. How did you get into playing goalkeeper?
I always wanted to play when I was little, actually. I mean, even back when, I was like a rugrat, but they never would put me in just because they, I guess, assumed I would just always run around and be kind of like the Energizer Bunny on the team. And so they didn't really let me play. And then when I tried out for travel ball, which was around like 9 or 10, I was like, oh, I want to try out as a keeper. And then still then they wouldn't really let me. So they would like let me play at half. And then in the other half, I'd have to play on the field. And then when I was about 13, my coach was like, okay, you kind of need to decide what you want to play and what position and kind of stick to it if you want to commit to the sport. And I was like, okay, easy enough, I'll play in goal. And I think secretly she wanted me to say that I wanted to play on the field, but I knew deep down I wanted to play in goal. And also playing basketball growing up really helped a lot, I think, and that came from my mom. So when I was about 13, I would say I definitely committed to being a keeper.
So I'm just going to do a little prediction since you said basketball, since you're a keeper. Were you a good rebounder?
I would say I was decent. I wasn't really a fan of boxing out, so I was kind of lazy on that end, but I did my best.
At least you're honest, So.
Yeah.
And yesterday was a very big day. I mean, those listening to the show now, today's Monday, April 10th, but I guess April 9th will always be a very big day for you.
It will, yeah. April 9th was awesome. I mean, getting my first cap and getting it at BBVA, which is kind of like, I don't know, it's a weird feeling now that it's kind of like my hometown now that I play for the Dash. So it was just an amazing day and amazing atmosphere to get my first cap and play a great game. And it was just an amazing day.
Well, I guess going into the NWSL season with Houston Dash, you've already got playing experience on that field, so you're getting close to that veteran status now.
Exactly. That's my goal. I mean, I'm just every baby step I can take, but the field's amazing. The stadium is just amazing, and I'm very excited for this season coming up with the Dash.
So I know that you've got a great team, you've got a great staff and great ownership, and that women's soccer is growing, and we're just seeing that this MLS type of partnership with teams is a great thing. I mean, you guys got a great relationship with the Dynamo down there.
It's great. I mean, they're a great team, and I mean, I don't know much about them personally, so I'm just looking forward to getting to know them and watch them play this season. And I know we're trying to branch our two teams a little bit together so we can hang out with them a little bit more and get to know them a little bit more. But I'm just excited for both of our teams, and hopefully we'll both have 2 successful seasons.
Well, I want to thank you. You know, this is a quick interview. I know you've got a lot going on your plate, and you're one of the fortunate players that didn't have to do a lot of traveling after that game yesterday.
Right, yeah, very lucky we didn't have to travel and catch a flight home or anything. It was just a quick walk home, actually, so it was very nice and very fun to be in, you know, the hometown of Houston and play in front of the home crowd.
Well, Jane, thank you for calling into the World Sports Show. Appreciate it. Look forward to having you on again soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Charlie Flo, World Sports Show here on WPPM LP Philadelphia. Online at phillycam.com, or no, .org, sorry, phillycam.org/radio/listen. Thank everybody out there for listening in.
Is that a front slash or a backslash?
Backslash, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm playing like what Contra and trying to put in the code to get extra men. AB select start or something like that. I don't even know. But no, I want to thank Jane Campbell for calling into the show and thank the Houston Dash staff for help set up that interview that we had. And great for her. It's a new bright future for U.S. women. You know, you have a new goalkeeper that could really be the future for the next World Cup. We don't know. We'll see how it all pans out.
Season's going to start soon. I can't wait.
Yeah, definitely. So fans out there, we got 4 games this Saturday. They have their special game with Orlando and Portland on Lifetime. They'll have 1 game a week on Lifetime, and there's 1 Sunday game. So we'll be bringing you NWSL action all season long. So stay tuned for that. All the news you need to see. You know, check us out. We'll be updating you with interviews, coaches, players, anybody you want. Just let us know. We'll get them.
That's right.
So we're going to turn the page to college soccer. Everyone knows out there I coach at Philadelphia University. We have Sean Lawlor, sorry for the mispronunciation, out of England, Blackpool, England to be exact. He's an assistant coach with the Drexel men's soccer team, and we've got a pretty interesting matchup this Thursday. Philadelphia University will travel to Drexel University to play in a spring game. And so far, how's the spring gone for you guys, Sean?
It's been good. It's been good. I mean, we've got a lot out of well, since we've been back January, like mid-January. So we've got quite a good squad coming back with numbers, a couple of injuries here and there, but spring's gone well so far. 2 wins out of our 3 games, so guys have got a taste of winning as well, which is also good, very important. But yeah, it's been good so far.
I always like the spring games because you can really get a lot of reps in for a lot of guys because you look at it says you're not having access to the incoming freshmen and you don't have use of the outgoing seniors. So really you're looking at, you know, a roster that may be 3/4 the size or maybe even smaller. So that part is good to get some of those players that really don't get those touches to see what their future holds.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of like a sink or swim mentality where the freshmen might have not played since... So our freshmen coming in last year, they probably didn't have played since July, and then their next game is in the end of February. So that's quite a long time to play 90 minutes. So it was good to see those guys play again, wear the Dragon shirt, and yeah, it's good to see, and we'll see what comes of it at the end of spring and whether it translates into preseason next August. So,
no, I like these games a lot. You know, I mean. You know, at the end of the day, there's no like trophies or standings or playoffs or bids to be had, but we treat it like game day at Philadelphia University. I'm sure you guys do it same at Drexel. You go through 18, and you expect your players to treat it like game day because we are, for both programs, I'm assuming, looking for spots for your starting 11 and your 18 the guys you're going to be dressing for next season. I mean, in a way, it's not preseason yet because there is preseason, but it's really starting to take form to guys can start winning jobs now.
Absolutely. I always think it's more important for freshmen and sophomores to become bigger, faster, and stronger. They get in the weight room. They can they can pile up college workouts, catch up to those 19 to 21-year-old guys' bodies, grow, and see what they've got on the soccer field. It's but yeah, spring's a good time.
It is a good time because there's some of the freshmen. I'm sure you and I are both shocked with the freshmen to turn. They've bulked up. They're starting to put on that freshman 15, and you really see it because college season starts early August, mid-August when you're bringing them into camp. But, I mean, just those few months of not seeing the guys, you really can see – I think the development maturity-wise, there's going to be a big thing for freshmen. A lot of it's mental. They're coming into a whole new lifestyle.
Absolutely, and we don't get the benefit of as soon as the freshmen come in, they play straight away in August, and it's like a train hit them by the end of the season because they've just not been used to playing 2 games a week plus travel plus class. It's especially in the academy system. You've got kids coming from the academy system, they play once a week, train 4 or 5 times in the week building up to that game, where at college you might train twice in a week and play 2 games, and then the rest of it's preparation or rest. So
a lot of it's time management because, both of our programs are running 6 a.m. sessions. I've got a couple this week I'm not looking forward to. So, but, the young high school age kids aren't used to that. They're used to going to doing schooling and then working with their club team, their academy team, and playing cup games on the weekend where, like you said, playing the multiple games a week, hitting the field at 6 a.m., it's a huge adjustment.
Adaptability is huge. Our head coach, Doug Hess, promotes adaptability from youth soccer all the way to the pros. You've got to be able to adapt. And again, spring is a great way of seeing who can adapt and who doesn't adapt, because you have training. Sometimes we have training sessions in the morning, and sometimes we have at night, field availability. Sometimes we play on different types of surfaces when we play spring games because they can't play on their regular because lacrosse might play, so you're playing on a park field. You never know. Spring is a lottery at times.
Yeah, so everybody out there listening, this Thursday, I'm trying to think of the date when Thursday it'll be. It'll be 7:30.
I'm not giving you no helpers.
So anyway, this Thursday, Philadelphia University at Drexel University, 7:30. Come on out. The game will be free. I mean, spring games are a lot of fun, and I think the neat part about spring games is the amount of parents. I mean, we've had some spring games already, and a ton of parents are coming out, and students come out. So it'll be a very interesting scenario for myself since I'm a Drexel grad going against Drexel. I mean, you yourself, you went to, what was I'm drawing blank, the college you played at?
Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah, Syracuse, New York, which is very interesting. You guys are a dolphin mascot.
It's still snowing up there, most likely. So
Old dolphin.
Dolphins hang in the snow. But
so you played your college ball there. What was your story of coming from England just to coming to play college ball in the United States? I mean, it's obviously not the traditional track of how college player is, or somebody in England gets over here.
So I played for my hometown team, Blackpool, as an apprentice. Didn't quite make the grade to be a first team player, and a coach who came to America was from Blackpool, gave me an opportunity. He said, "Why don't you come to Lemoyne, study in America, play in America, carry on your soccer career there, and maybe try the pro path from there." And so I didn't try the pro path, went straight into college soccer coaching. So played at Lemoyne for 4 years, was a grad assistant there, so I ended up with a master's degree as well, which I didn't even think I'd get a college degree, never mind a master's degree. So my mum didn't either, but
she doesn't believe you. You had
she still doesn't believe me. No, it's a Word document. But so then I went to Syracuse University, saw what big time athletics was really about. But then I just had the opportunity to work with Doug Hess, who's a winning coach, who's got a winning resume, and with plenty of trophies and conference championships on there. So I couldn't say no to that opportunity, and moving to a big city, it just topped it off, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's 180. I mean, that's the thing. That's what really drew me to go to Drexel, to attend there for academic reason, just the city and how advanced of a university is, and just seeing it grow. And even the short time you've been there, you've seen just the university grow and just becoming one of the top universities in Philadelphia.
It's like 2 buildings have already gone up since I've been there in 2 years, and there's going to be plans. There's that $1 billion plan for the Parkway, the Greenways, right by between Drexel University and the 30th Street Station. We also have more and more housing, and towards West Philly is also improving due to the 2 universities in that area, or the 3 universities in that area. So
yeah, I think the neat part, I don't know if you've been up there, John, is they've got the green park on top of the parking garage.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's about, 15 stories above. There's actually a green park sitting above and looking over Center City.
To be honest, you know why I go through Drexel? For the food trucks.
Oh, man.
Yes.
There's one of the Jamaican ones that makes a Jamaican jerk cheesesteak.
Yep, for our international and outside of the area listeners, Drexel University and Penn University are I guess,
across the street.
Literally across the street.
Battle for 33rd. I mean,
the battle. Yeah. So the food, it's a competition up there for food, and it's just every block is something different.
That's where I discovered food trucks, man.
There you go. Food trucks are not like, your old school, truck, but they're pretty good.
And what I love about not being a player anymore, being a coach, we can eat.
That's right.
I'm sure that there's that status change, Sean, now that you're a coach and not, a college player or a pro player that, hey, we still got to be in shape a little bit, but, man, we can pack home some snacks and not worry about having to pass the beep test tomorrow.
I haven't worried about a beep test in a while, so and it looks that way as well. So
worried about the burp test.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's like our new obsession here on the World Sports Show. We've talked about having a beep test, like an over 30, over 40 beep test competition.
I know who's going to come in last, and it's me.
I might be right there with you, buddy.
But one thing we talk about, is like game day. We talk about food and entertainment, meeting social, and it's always the pregame. I think we want to talk about this on the show a little bit before, the difference between American style pregame and back home pregame.
So, coming to my first Philadelphia Union game, we parked the car and I just started walking towards the stadium, and I went with my boss, and he was like, "Where are you going? We've got tailgating to do." And so you stand in this gravel car park, and you're just standing there. You can turn music on. Like, I've grown into it. More and more. Obviously, living in Syracuse, New York, there's not much tailgating going on there because their football program isn't that popular, so the tailgates aren't that big. And basketball, it's eight inches of snow, so you can't really do it there. So, but in England, you go to the game, you park your car, and then you go to one of the pubs. There's all supporters group pubs, or there's just pubs that you like going in. So you go in there. It's people, like you said, people drink between 1 and maybe 10, and then go to the game, buy a beer at the game, and the food at the Union Stadium is far superior to any stadium that you have in England.
It's a good little variety down there,
That's the thing, is you can take people, like, that's the thing, as a guy, you can take a lady on a date to the game, and she's like, "Oh my God, we're going to this stadium. Oh my God, they got this burger, they got this hot dog," and you're like, they don't even care about the match, but it's a whole nother marketing tool that there's people that come to these games because of the food.
Right, and the homemade food at the tailgates is something that, we, I'm down there every game, so we take pride in, see who's got the best food around, in the area. But that's an interesting dynamic between, different countries is the pregame. Everybody pregames in one way or the other to go and celebrate and support the team. It's just how they're going to do it.
I went to a Bayern Munich game. I've gone to 2 games there. Massive parking lot, just drones of parking lot, gravel parking lot. Not a single person standing out there doing it. I'm like, why isn't this caught on? Like, just show up hours early, bring your food, and there's always somebody who has a ball. We're always over there in what lot, B or C, whatever lot the name of it is now. I don't know what it is now, but somebody brings a ball. You're kicking the ball around, having some beverages, eating food, and then you start becoming friends, and you start showing up at the same spot. And then when the games are over, 9 times out of 10, John, we're not trying to stand in line in all the traffic, so we just go there. And there's always some second round of food. There's even people that go down there, some of the wives and girlfriends, they don't even go to the game. They just stay manning the food the whole time.
That's right.
So, again, thank you, Sean, for coming into World Sports Show tonight. It's going to be very interesting this Thursday when Philadelphia Union travel to Drexel University, 7:30. Everybody go out and check it out. Free game. All the fans can go out there. It'll be neat, and wish you guys the best of luck at Drexel this coming up season. And
thank you.
Really hope you guys get in the NCAA tournament, and we'll get in on the NCAA 2 tournament, so we'll see what happens.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It was a good interview. Hope to come on again.
Yeah, we always run out of time, That's the thing is, in radio, the time flies by, We had a good interview, and show's about to wrap up. Any final thoughts, John?
That's it. Radio Radio again. Mailbag at worldsportshow.com.
Champions League, that's a big thing I recommend for people out there to watch. Big games this week on Tuesday and Thursday, so check it out. We'll have a lot to report on next week. Check us out anytime at worldsportshow.com. Just a reminder, World Sports Show can be found on YouTube. We post about shows every week. I'm Charlie Flo. He's John DeCriscio. We're out of here.